I have covered this game twice in the past. I typically tend to avoid covering games that I don't particularly vibe with because I feel like personally, it's a waste of time hating on something when you could be enjoying something else instead. Now, the reason I've covered this twice or thrice now is because I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed various different aspects of it, and I always love coming back to games after they release large updates with a surplus of content to now consume. Hey, my name is STIX and welcome back to the channel. I was reached out to by the team behind Lord of Heroes, and they inquired as to whether I would be interested in taking a sponsored look at a game that I have already enjoyed multiple times in the past. Now, I would be quite the idiot to turn this down, so naturally, I went ahead and said hell yeah. With this in mind, if this game looks remotely interesting to you, I urge you to go ahead and click that link in the description or the pinned comment below to download it. It's a huge help to the channel. Well, I guess where do we even start with all of this, right? I guess let's just start at the top. Wait, what was that? Did someone say, what is Lord of Heroes? You know what? That is a fantastic question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, you in the back there. Yeah, with the blow up Marin and the Dakimakura. You know who you are. You don't try to hide. Lord of Heroes is a strategy RPG that utilizes both a gorgeous anime aesthetic and a turn-based combat system akin to something you'd find in an older JRPG. You take on the role of a conqueror, one that you customize when beginning the game. I went with something that looks like me. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead here and match it up side by side. Yeah, that's about how I envisioned myself if I were attempting to conquer the land. Like most games of its kind, it offers a variety of different maps, with each map housing different characters, different areas, and different sets of enemies to engage. After clearing all of the missions in the area you're in specifically, you'll gain access to the next region and further progress with the story. And that's pretty much the main game. You're attempting to conquer the land by slowly moving east across the continent. All the while, the east has a tyrant that's slowly rising in power that aims to put a stop to you. But you know, he's ultimately going to fail because we're just better than he is. Or they are? I don't know. Now, I completed the entire base version of this game, and after doing so, I gained access to the world in hard mode, which, as its name would imply, was significantly more difficult than what I had witnessed up until that point. And that isn't even the final version of the game. The game goes even beyond hard into, well, what can only be described as torture, I'd assume, given how difficult the game already is for me. But you know what? I have never shied away from a challenge, and I was not going to let this increased difficulty stop me. Okay, well, oh, you know what? In retrospect, it may have inhibited me a few times, but it definitely did not stop me. At least not permanently. Given that we've outlined what type of game this is now, let's talk about the update. Then we'll go over the game a little more. So the latest update introduces the War of the Tyrants game mode. This is a game mode that allows players to explore a time long before the events of the current game. Kind of like Jurassic Park, but you know, without the dinosaurs, and instead you have like bird people and other weird animal people. Yeah, you'll move through unlocking days, unlocking weeks, months of content depicting a great war that took place and the unique heroes found within it. You'll also encounter a cast of characters that you can take into battle that your hero will interact with. It's all actually pretty cool. I have a dedicated group set up that I built over a multi-week period, so I've kind of grown accustomed to how they function, but introducing an entirely new set of heroes that I have no idea about, it adds an additional layer of depth to a game that already has more than your average mobile game. The update also added both the War of the Tyrants Legacy Pass for players to redeem for some sweet goodies by actually playing through the new content, but also the new Lusilica character who has a dark elemental attunement. And I know that there are probably plenty of you watching that are just sitting there wondering to yourself, okay, New content is all well and good, but what is the game actually like? And honestly, this is a chapter-based, mission-oriented anime RPG. What this means is that the game itself can get a little grindy at times. You need to grind to obtain items to level your heroes, you need to grind to obtain items to promote your heroes, you grind your money, you grind your resources. I know grinding isn't for everyone, but thankfully, there is a plethora of different options available for players, so the grind never gets repetitious. And honestly, if it ever does, you just need to take a moment here, put your phone down, and maybe go for a walk. Or, you know what, maybe go ahead and do some squats. Although, you know what, now that I think about it, you could do squats while grinding in the game. So that means you can grind in-game and out. Man, that's next level. Grinding options include things like the Primeval Halls, Elemental Halls, the Hall of Trials, Treasure, Experience, Darkness, Fire, Water, and every other element that you can use to summon Captain Planet. You can engage other players in PvP. If you're filling up to it, you can send out your heroes on expeditions to gather resources. You can farm various chapters or missions in the overworld. You can push through the story, which admittedly is probably the most important part of the game. The game has a surplus of different heroes that you can collect, that you can level, you can spend time gearing both waifus and husbandos. Admittedly, at the end of the day, I find there being an almost limitless number of things that you can do. Whether this is a pro or a con, however, it is entirely subjective, and I'm sure also dependent on how much spare time you have in the day. I have a fair amount, given I work sitting on my butt all day, so I can get everything I want done. I can slowly push through the story, I can clear new content and focus on grinding resources to upgrade my heroes. Lord of Heroes is a game that I have come back to several times because, and as always, this is a completely subjective opinion, but you know what? I have fun in it. It looks gorgeous. I love anime games, and this is definitely one of the better ones available aesthetically. The combat has some great effects and animations, and I've always been a fan of turn-based combat. Plus, having control over how you attempt to dominate the lands adds an additional layer of strategy to the game that you just don't find in any of its direct competition. Now, once again, if this is something that you think genuinely looks good, like something that you might be interested in trying, then I urge you to go ahead and click that download link in the description and the pinned comment below. If not, you know what? No problem. Don't sweat it. Not every game is made for every person.